Sorry, I was just updating in my Discord that I was live. But hello everyone. Today we're gonna be continuing with some Umineko. Yeah, I changed my PNG to Chester45. Seems like the non-speaking's a little bigger than the speaking, but that's okay. Yeah, I guess I'll just get right into it then.
Uryu, Maria, 返事して。ウリュ、やっぱり僕はぬいぐるみなの？布と綿でできてるから喋れるわけないの？だからマリアとはおしゃべりできないの？
Sakutaro looked up at Maria sadly. No, that's not true! Don't listen to them! Maria's face was covered with tears and looked as though it had even lost all traces of sadness.
聞こえてるよ、サクタロウ。サクタロウは布と綿でできたぬいぐるみなんかじゃないよ。マリアのお友達だよ。返事なんか嫌い。ウリュ、マリアごめんね。マリアごめんね。ウリュ。
Sakutaro regretted doing that. By freezing her heart, Maria had finally been able to escape from her sadness. By speaking up and calling her back, he'd caused her to be overwhelmed with sadness again. Sakutaro tried hugging Maria, letting go of her and gazing at her uneasy, lost as to how he could bring Maria's spirits up. He might have looked a little humorous doing that. In the end, that was enough to distract Maria from her sadness.
ごめんね。もう泣いても仕方ないもんね。エンジェとは喧嘩しちゃったけど、マリアにはまだたくさん友達がいるよ。僕だけじゃない。みんなもいるよ。サクスケも、サク吉も、動物の音楽隊も、他にも。
Maria looked at the many stuffed animals around her pillow, which were gathered together as though they were having an idle chat.
みんな、マリアのこと心配してるよ。どうしたらマリアが元気になってくれるかなって、ずっと相談しているよ。みんなは、エンジェみたいにいなくならない？ならないよ。僕たちはいつだって一緒だよ。
Hi, Golden Sorcerer! Yep, new bunny PNG!
本当に？サクタロたちは家でしか一緒じゃ
Hope
ないよ。
you're doing well, by the way.
ママと一緒にお出かけできないし、学校にも一緒に行けないよ。僕たちは学校に行っちゃいけないから、先生に見つかったら怒られちゃうもん。でも見つからないならいつだって一緒にいていいんだよ。サク太郎、大きいから見つかっちゃうね。だったら小さくて持ち歩ける。
Hi, Oasis, how are you?
例えばほら、森の音楽隊の仲間たちなら。
Yeah, I'm doing good. How are you doing?
ほら、小さいからマリアのポケットに隠れて一緒に学校に行けるよ。
Oh, I'm glad you're both good. Yeah, I've been doing well too. Just chilling this morning.
いっぱいいるよ。ポケットに入りきらないよ。
She collected all of the forest band pieces that were scattered across her bed. There were about as many of them as pieces in a chess set, so it'd probably be impossible to fit them all in her pocket.
なら特に仲良しのお友達だけを連れて行くといいよ。森の音楽隊の中で一番マリアと仲良しのウサギの4人組を連れてくといいよ。4つならポケットに入る。これなら見つからないね。だから マリアはこれで学校でも一人ぼっちじゃないよ。僕が一緒に行けないところでもこの子たちなら一緒にいてくれるよ。なら寂しくないかも。お家に帰ってくるまで我慢できるかも。ママと先生にさえ見つからなければ僕たちはいつだって一緒にいられるんだよ。そしていつまでも一緒にいよう。遊んでいよう。僕たちはマリアを絶対に一人ぼっちになんかさせないから。うりゃ。
Maria's expression finally regained a little bit of its brightness. That's right. In the beginning, Maria's world didn't have Angie in it. Even without Angie, it was fun with everyone. And yet, strangely enough, it suddenly became sad without Angie, who had come in at the end. All that's happened is what I've returned to the world right before Angie entered it. So there's nothing to be sad about.
寂しくないよ。サクタラもみんなも一緒だもん。うりゅう。マリア大好き。もう人間なんかにマリアの世界には誰も立ち入らせないよ。マリアージュ・ソルシエールはマリアとベアトリーチェだけの二人きりの同盟。もともとベアともエンジェを加えるのには反対してたし、これでいいんだもんね。エンジェはまだ幼すぎたんだよ。エンジェのことはまた仲良しになれるまで当分を忘れていていいと思うよ。マリアがまた元気を取り戻せたら一緒に遊べばいいよ。それまで僕たちみんながずっとそばにいるからね。ありがとう。
Aww.
サクタロ、みんな。
Then Maria once again regained her former world. She regained the world that wasn't lonely, where she was surrounded by many friends. Just like usual, she didn't have any human friends at her school, but her magic friends were always with her. The rabbit band she hid in her pockets talked with her during class, sounding like they were having fun. Just listening to that greatly embellished the time she spent in class. Maria made it so that as long as Mama and the teacher didn't find out, her other friends could always be with her. When Mama told Maria to go play outside, Maria would secretly pack Sakutara and Sakusuke and the rest into her bag and play together at the library somewhere. Even when Mama was late coming home and Maria went shopping for dinner, she always went with Sakutaro. The man at the convenience store and the other people were nice to Sakutaro. Oh, hey, Blur Neko! I'm doing good. How are you doing? It's been a minute. He sometimes gave a second portion free to Maria and Sakutaro. When Mama found out, Maria would get into trouble for bringing Sakutaro and the rest outside. When the teacher found out, Maria would get in trouble for bringing toys to school. The toxin must be strong in Mama and the teacher. That's why Sakutaro looks like a normal stuffed animal to them. After all, the convenience store man and the others will say hello to Sakutaro. Not all humans are hopeless. There are tons of people who, unlike Angie and Mama and the teacher, can say hello to magic friends like I can.
Maria-chan kai? いらっしゃい。今夜もママは帰りが遅いのかい?
Oh yeah, the weekend's always too short.
でもサクタロたちも一緒だから寂しくないの。ねえサクタロ。うりゅう。今日はね、僕だけじゃないんだよ。他のお友達も一緒なんだよ。
おや、他のお友達かい? 今日はどんなお友達が一緒なんだい?
The shop teacher is so nice to her.
今日はね、森の音楽隊のウサギさんたちも一緒。ほら、ポケットに入ってるの。
Maria began to line up 4 ceramic rabbit dolls on the register. As the owner of the shop looked at it, smiling, he said a signal to a part-timer with his chin. Then the sign on the register that said close was taken down, and a voice called out for everyone to move over there. All the people in line behind Maria lined up behind that one.
そうかそうか。マリアちゃんにはお友達がいっぱいだね。ママも早く帰ってきてくれればいいのに。
ママはまたお仕事が忙しくて会社にお泊まりなの。
How are you finding episode 4? Because I felt episode 4 drags on a little. I definitely, like, I'm interested in it, right? Like, I like it, but I definitely feel that same feeling that you're talking about, where I'm kind of like, oh, I wish it was a teensy bit quicker pace, you know what I mean? Like, I wish it was, but until then, you know. It's been interesting, though.
マリアと電話でお話しする時間も全然取れない。でも寂しくないよ。
Oh, by the way, if you don't know, we ship Mammon and Angie so fucking hard. Like, Mammon and Angie were meant to be together, dude. Like, oh my god. Mammon and Angie and Beatrice and Rosa are my 2 well, and Cannon and Jessica, obviously. But I mean, like, ships that aren't, like, I don't know, you know what I mean? That aren't, like, established yet. I feel like those 2, they need to be together now. Although Mammon and Angie are already kind of together. Yeah, but the last part of this episode, it will be fire. Oh, okay.
マリアにはサクタラたちがいるもん。ねえ。うりゅう。うさぎの音楽隊のみんなも一緒だもん。
What I've heard from my really good friend Mark, who recommended me Higurashi and the series to begin with, so have to thank him a lot for that. But he was letting me know that apparently you can the way Ryukushi or Kishi, I don't remember, Ryukishi set up Umineko is that it could technically be solved within the question arcs. But the answer arcs add more context and stuff, and, like, we'll go into it and technically explain it even more. And so I'm sure the ending of chapter 4 is going to be, like, you know, a lot of shit going down. You know what I'm saying? Cue, cue.
ウサギの鳴き声ってキューキューだったっ
Cue,
け？
cue, cue, cue. I'm a rabbit. What can I say?
そういや聞いたことないな。
After smiling at Sakutaro, who was poking his head out of her knapsack, she played around with the rabbit band on the register, making them frolic around. Although the shop manager gazed at this pleasantly, he had a slightly pitying look on his face. Yes. This was apparently a single-mother household, where the mother had to work hard and couldn't come home very often. On top of that, it looked like this girl didn't even have any friends. As he watched her play around happily with her dolls and claimed that she wasn't lonely despite everything, he couldn't help but feel a kind of compassion. And actually, this wasn't limited to him alone. Maria had been quite famous in this shopping district.
マリアちゃん、たまにはおでんも食べなさい。卵とか練り物とか食べないと大きくなれないよ。
Aww.
クリームパンじゃダメ？うりゅう、いろいろ食べないと大きくなれないよ。今日はおでんにしよう。じゃあおでんにする。
Answers is way better, but everything can be solved at episode 4 end. Yeah. I'm excited.
おじさんが多めに入れておくよ。からしいる？
Oh yeah, I think you might have messaged me earlier, Golden Sorcerer, but I was like half asleep, so even now I'm like doubting reality if that even happened. But I feel like you sent me something about White Album, but I want you to know I will look at that again later. So I didn't ignore you on purpose. I was just barely waking up, so I was like, what's happening? You know what I mean?
うりゅう、から
そうかそうか。じゃあこぼさないように持って帰りな。温かいうちが美味しいよ。
ありがと
She had planned on getting some sweet pastries for dinner, but since Odin had been recommended to her, she would be having that tonight instead. I just found it on sale on Amazon Japan too. Oh yeah. Now it's coming back to me. That's awesome that you found that. Thank you. Letting someone else determine the menu makes for an unexpected and interesting meal. Very often Maria had to decide what her dinner would be on her own, so it was easy for the menus to get a little one-sided. Sorry, I had to blow my nose really quick. So it felt fun to have a meal she hadn't anticipated.
う。ウリ
Udiu.
ュウ。おじさん、おまけしてくれてありがとう。
お
Agare.
家にいる他のお友達にもよろしくね。途中でつまみ食いしちゃダメだよ。まっすぐお家へ帰ってから食べるんだよ。
Hard copy? Oh, right. Is it just a CD that I just don't, does my PC even have a CD slot? That's actually a good question. I don't see one. Maybe it's in the back. I'll have to check that out later.
おじさん、ありがと
Arigato! Maria raised the bag with the Odin container high.
う。あれ、ウリュウ？
Most people don't have it nowadays. Yeah, I've noticed that, especially because I have I have a pre-built one that I got on Amazon actually. It's like a gamer computer or whatever. So I noticed most gamer computers don't have one, which is interesting.
どうしたの、マリア？ポケットに鍵がない。
Uh-oh. Standing in front of the door to her house, Maria searched all over her body. The key to the house wasn't there. She always methodically put it in the same pocket, so there was no way she had put it in another pocket, but she searched her whole body just in case. Unsurprisingly, it wasn't there.
お財布を出した時に落とした？お財布を出してしまう時にはちゃんと手応えがあったもん。途中でポケットを探った時にもちゃんと手応えがあった。途中まではあったの。落としてなんかいない。
Even though the late autumn wind had been bearable when Maria had been thinking of returning home where the heater was, now that she was confused and lost her key, the wind tormented her. But no matter how hard she searched, she couldn't find her key. She turned out all her pockets and even tried taking off her jacket and hitting it, but to no avail. Of course, she also turned the knapsack Sakutaro was in upside down, but the key didn't come out. Girl, I'd be freaking out just like that too. If I lost my key on the way home, oh my god, I would have a panic attack. So cry your eyes out, Maria. That is a very based reaction. Something that should have been there where it wasn't where it was supposed to be. Why isn't the key there when I didn't do anything wrong? That is a question to life. Why did something happen when I didn't do anything wrong? I don't know, Maria. That's life. I wish I knew. Why isn't it? Why? Maria was cold and frustrated and angry, and she stamped on the ground. The bottom of her foot throbbed, but that didn't lessen her frustration. At the same time, her tears poured out. Me too, dude. I'd be freaking the fuck out. It wasn't her fault. Happened to me. That's terrifying. So it was someone else's fault. But Maria didn't know who that someone was and could do nothing but continue to let out a moan of anger.
ウリュウ、きっと途中で落としたんだよ。探そう。来た道を戻って探そう。せっかくおでん買ったのに。 卵とかおまけしてもらったのに、あったかいうちに食べられない。
You can just eat it outside, honey. Just eat it outside your doorstep and then go look for it later.
マリア、悔しいけど探そう。
Or eat it on the way, or can she not heat it up? I don't know how Odin works. Maria finally lent an ear to Sakutaro's words and began to trot back down the road she had come on. The wind was colder than before, and it felt like it was blowing in through the corners of her jacket in a mean way.
しっかり足元を見て探そう。そして早くお家に帰って暖房で温まりながらおでんを食べよう。きっと美味しいよ。ない。
I haven't dropped my keys before because it's on a lanyard for me, so it's like really hard for me to like not notice when I drop my keys. But I have this one time, which I don't know how I got so lucky, but apparently I was in the airport and I apparently had dropped my passport, but I didn't feel it, I didn't notice at all. And some sweet woman came up to me and was like, "Hey, did you drop this?" She was like, "I saw it on the floor near you." And I was about to board my flight too, like soon. So I would have just like completely been unaware unless that sweet woman came up to me and I was like, "Oh my god, thank you so much." Oh my god. That's happened to me way too many times that I can count, where shit should have gone way worse than it did, but I got so lucky. As Sakutano encouraged her, Maria searched for the key. But she made it all the way back to the convenience store where she'd bought the Odin, but she hadn't found it. Just in case, she asked the man at the convenience store whether they had found a dropped key, but they hadn't found anything. One more time, she returned home, paying close attention to the area around her feet. But unsurprisingly, she didn't find it. She was no longer frustrated enough to stomp her feet, but hot tears dripped down her face. The Odin had cooled down completely. Even though she had been told it would have been delicious when warm, she hadn't been able to eat it. Even though that man had given her so much free stuff.
泣かないで。ママは今夜帰ってこないんだよ。頑張って探そう。なんで見つからないの？マリア、泣かないで。頑張って探そう。マリア。
Maria was no longer able to hold back her tears. Sobbing, she clutched Sakutaro and held the bag of Odin, returning once more down the road she had come by. Perhaps because more and more houses and stores had turned their lights off by now, it was even darker and harder to search than before. And once again, without finding the key, she returned to the convenience store.
マリアちゃん、鍵まだ見つからないのかい？
鍵ない。
お母さん、今日は泊まりだっけ？鍵ないとお家入れないの？
入れない。
そりゃ困ったね。交番には行ってみた？届いてるかもしれないよ。
ママがおまわりさんに話しかけられても。
Kind of based.
またどうして？
It was probably because Rosa would be liable for making such a young girl like Maria watch over the house by herself, and because she knew that this wasn't something that would be permitted by society. So Maria was indoctrinated into changing the stores she bought things at so she didn't catch the eyes of the adults, and into saying no more than a greeting to policemen, even if they talked to her. Maria had obediently done what she was told. Instead of considering why she must do that, she was much more concerned with meekly obeying because her mother had told her so. But the manager of the convenience store probably didn't think of it that way. In the first place, seeing such a young girl being forced to watch over the house alone and so frequently would make anyone worry. Then, after making the round trip between her home and the store once more and arriving at the convenience store for a third time, a policeman was there.
マリアちゃん、鍵見つかったかい？
見つからない。
お嬢ちゃん、お名前は？
The policeman asked her name, but Maria didn't
お母さん
answer.
におまわりさんとお話ししちゃいけないって言う。大丈夫だよ。おじさんは怖くないよ。
Yeah, like I never trust a cop that told me that. Fuck no. Fuck you, copper.
お嬢ちゃんは晩ご飯は食べた？
買ったけど、お家に入れないから食べられない。
お母さんはどうしてるの？今日は帰ってこないの？お仕事？お母さんの会社の連絡先。
Maria hung her head limply. She didn't understand why the policeman was getting mad at her. And we probably wasn't getting mad at her, but if this reached her mother's ears, she would definitely be in trouble. Even if she didn't understand why the reason she would be in trouble, she at least understood that much. But the policeman wouldn't let Maria go, and her head was swimming from hunger. The policeman noticed that, and it was decided that he'd listen to her story as they ate in the police box. Maria was taken to the police box. She had her Odin heated in a microwave oven, and even salty rice cakes and hot tea were brought out for her. Well, that's nice. What did the guy do? He decided to become a policeman. That's what he did. That's what he did. Tell me to trust you? No. Never. That makes me trust you even less. She'd been told not to talk to policemen. But after being asked about Sakutaro, she responded, starting to feel that this wasn't a bad person. And anyway, she wouldn't be able to return home now, so she didn't know what to do. She told him Mama's work phone number, which she had been told to tell no one of and use only in a very, very serious situation. In the tatami room inside the police box, as she ate the Odin that was so hot it felt like it would burn her, she watched the policeman making the phone call, lazily thinking, I'm probably gonna get in trouble.
マリア、ママに怒られるかな。ウリュウ。
He must have been listening to the phone ringing for a very long time. With the receiver up to his ear, the policeman looked at the clock,
営業時間
grumbling.
終えちゃってるから出ないのかな。あ、もしもし、もしもし、有限会社アンチローザさんで、こちら小松川警察署千本桜駅前交番でございます。
Senbon Sakura. That's a good Miku song.
う大館じゃないや、後宮社長さんはいらっしゃいますか？はい。休暇中？
はい、社長は昨日から3日間休暇になってます。どういったご用件で？
いやいやいや。それでどちらにおられ、連絡先とか聞いてたりしませんかね？
ちょっとお待ちいただいてよろしいですね。誰か社長の旅行先聞いてる？連絡先。彼氏と札幌カニ食い放題って聞きました。了解。もしもし、札幌に行ってるそうですけど、連絡先まではちょっとわかりません。
The only one I know.
ご伝言
Oh,
し
is
ます
this
か？
one?
そうですか。じゃあ、もし連絡がつきましたら、こちらから電話があったとお伝えできますか？はい。
After that, I was taken to the police department, which was even bigger, and ended up spending the night there. Then they asked me various things about myself. A lady who called herself the district welfare officer came by and asked about a lot of things. I was told, you poor thing. When I heard that, I learned for the first time.
マリアってかわいそうだったの？ウリュウ、そんなことないよ。マリアは幸せ。ほー。
Oh, God. Then Rosa came back. Maria was told to go to her room, but on her way back from the bathroom, she hid by the entrance to the living room and listened in on the exchange. The person who had come to visit was the female district welfare officer who had asked Maria various questions on that day.
マリアは心が純粋すぎて繊細だから、無神経な子がいたら傷つけられてしまうんです。余計なおせっかいはやめてください。
でもね、お母さん、そんなに繊細な子ならなんで一人で家に放置しておくの？お母さんが一緒にいてあげるべきなんじゃないですか？
なるべく一緒にいるようにしています。そんなことあなたに指図される覚えはありません。
そうですか。この辺のご近所ではとてもお宅のお嬢さんが夜頻繁に買い物や食事に来るってみんな気にしてて気を使ってくれてたんですよ。
どうしてうちの子だとわかるんですか？子供なんて街中にいくらでもいるじゃないですか。勝手にうちのマリアだと決めつけないでください。夜に出歩く子供だってたまにはいるでしょ。それらが全てうちの子だという証拠でもあるんで。
ライオンのぬいぐるみを抱いた女の子がよく夕食を食べに来る、買いに来るって商店街でもとても有名だったんですよ。みんなマリアちゃんのことを思って大切にしてくれてました。
ライオンのぬいぐるみなんて自宅まで送るなんて余計なお世話です。マリアを誘拐するつもり？マリアに構わないで。マリアは私の子です。私が育ててます。おかしな施設に入れるつもりもまるでありません。余計なおせっかいはやめて。
ウリュウ、ライオンのぬいぐるみって僕のこと？大丈夫だよ。怒られるのはマリ、サク太郎は関係ないよ。
Maria hugs Sakutaro, continuing to watch her mother fearfully.
私もマリアと毎日一緒にいられたらと思います。でもシングルマザーですから働かなくちゃならない。
You're on vacation, dude.
私はこう見えても会社の社長ですから社員の生活も背負っている。一年中仕事で忙しいんですよ。休む暇だってないんです。
そう？でもこの3日間お休みだったんです。
休みなんかじゃありません。私はずっと会社で泊まりがけで仕
Bruh,
事していました。
they
他の
called.
頼りない社員では片付けられない案件が私には山積みなんです。
どうしてそんな嘘つく？あなたの会社の人が3日間お休みを取ってますって言ってるのよ。彼氏さんと北海道に行ってきたんでしょ？娘さんを
I
3
thought
日
it
間
was
も置い
Sapporo.
て。
彼氏なんて知りません。北海道なんて知りません。どうしてそんなデタラメ言うの？どうしてなんか証拠でもあるの？何よあんた、勝手に人の家のことに口を出さないでよ。私はマリアを愛してるのよ。私には私なりの愛し方があるのよ。勝手に口出さないでよ。
Well, you could love someone and still be a bad mother. Love does not determine how you treat someone.
私は旅行になんて行ってないわよ。仕事してたのよ、ずっと。
Because I mean, yeah, hold on. I'm gonna make a snack really quick. It won't be long. Yeah, Rosa's got some issues. She is so wallowed in self-hate that she escapes it by going on vacation all the time because she's so stressed. But then because of that, like, she's just making her problems worse by continuing the cycle. She needs therapy for real. She's like a typical self-harm cycle. She's just wallowed in her own self-hate because I know she feels bad about doing this. Like, even though she's justifying it now, she's just justifying it because she doesn't want to get in trouble. But okay, I put it in the microwave. That's why Rosa is one of my most hated characters. Yeah, but she's very realistically written. I will say that. This is such a common cycle. Like, it really happens a lot. Okay, it's in the microwave now.
1秒でも早く会いたくて、仕事を少しでも早く片付けようと一生懸命会社に泊まり込んでずっと
Bro, they literally called though.
知らない知らない。北海道なんて知らないわよ。勝手なこと言わないで。
Damn.
もう帰って。帰ってよ。
She's freaking out because her actions finally caught up with her, and so this is like her worst fear, probably.
何なのよあんたは。帰って。
Ironically, this is just making her case even worse. Kaite! Rosa raged, her hair flying wildly. A teacup was knocked over from the force of her standing up, but far louder than that was the sound of her beating the table with both hands. When faced with this rage that could accurately be described as wide-eyed derangement, the district welfare officer couldn't help but be taken aback. And the same went for Maria, who was secretly watching this from the hallway. She had already seen her mother in a rage several times before this, but she had never seen her this crazed with anger. When she saw this, Maria was sure this was no longer her mother. It was some other being that possessed her mother's body. And then she herself was discovered by the evil being. Maria knew that she was being reflected in the evil being's eyes. Her mind went blank and she felt as though her field of vision was racing off into the distance. After fiercely closing in on Maria, Rosa mercilessly slapped her on her small shoulders and dropped her gaze towards the stuffed animal Maria was holding, Sakutaro.
マリア、あなた、あれだけお外にそれを持って行っちゃダメって言ったのに、持って行ったのね。
ウリュウ、マリアは悪くないよ。僕がついていくって言ったの。違うよ。マリアが寂しいから勝手にサクタロを連れてったの。だからママ、サクタロは悪くないの。ウリュウ、マリア。
She's gonna fucking rip Sakutaro apart.
サクタロは悪くないよ。サクタロは悪くないよ。
Instead of Maria, the brunt of Rosa's anger was aimed at the lion stuffed animal Maria was holding. A girl went shopping in the middle of the night, always clutching a lion stuffed animal. Because of that, she'd become well known in the shopping center. Sorry, the microwave was done, so I just went to grab that. She's gonna say die. Oops.
ぬいぐるみ持ってっちゃダメって言ったでしょ。どうして。
Well, that's what happens when you leave a kid alone their whole fucking life.
あんたはママの言うことが聞けないのよ。
Alright, I'm trying to open this packet really carefully. Let me just get this packet open and then I'll continue as normal. Sorry about that. Man, this scene again, yes, is a rough scene.
どうしてよ。どうしてママの言いつけがちゃんと守れないのよあんたは。
Because she's lonely. With every single word, she stamped her heel and banged furiously on the wall. Of course, she didn't make direct contact with Maria. Well, that's because the officer's still there. However, the violence of the harsh sound certainly beat against her.
お母さん、おやめなさい。
話してよ。話せって言ってんでしょ。
The district welfare officer had come back to her senses and was pinning Rosa's arm behind her back. But the instant Rosa was touched, she went wild, furiously throwing the welfare officer off. She hit the table and fell to the ground. Holy shit. A teacup on the table smashed on the floor, making a violent sound.
マリアは悪くないよ。僕が悪いの。
Sakutaro, now is not really the time to say
だからマ
this.
リアを叱らないで。サク太郎を連れてったのはマリア。
I guess they're both kids, though.
サク太郎は悪くないの。サク太郎は悪くないの。だからサク太郎をそんな怖い目で見ないで。見ないで。マリアを叱らないで。マリアを叱らないで。うりゅー。
さっきから何をやってるの？あんた、そのお人形さんごっこ、外でもやってたの？お店の人の前でもやってたの？だから覚えられちゃうんでしょ？少しは考えろ、このバカ！なんであんたはそう大バカなのよ！正直におっしゃいな。お外でお買い物をするとき、ママに内緒でいつもそのぬいぐるみを持ち歩いてたのね。
うりゅう。
その変なぬいぐるみ語をやめなさい。ぬいぐるみじゃなく、あなたの言葉で喋りなさい。
サク太郎はぬいぐるみじゃないよ。マリアの友達だよ。ぬいぐるみって言わないで。言わないで。
はいはい、わかったわ。サク太郎だったわね、名前。ママに内緒でそのサク太郎人形を持っていつもお買い物に行っていたのね。
Maria admitted it honestly. If she hadn't admitted it, then Sakutaro would have said something to take the blame. So by admitting it right away, she was protecting her small friend.
サク太郎だけ？他には？まさか学校にも何か変なのを持って行ってるんじゃないですか？
お母さん、お嬢さんは悪くないでしょ。そのキスもおやめなさい。
あんたは黙ってなさい。私と娘の話でしょ。ほらマリア、ママの目を見て話をしなさい。ママの質問にお返事は？
サク太郎だけじゃないの。
Maria gets a lot of backstory, which is good, but also not easy to watch. Yeah,
ウサギのみんなも一緒。
for sure.
今も持ってるの？
Maria fished around in her pockets, pulling out 4 ceramic rabbits with her tiny hand. The rabbits were her close friends, who could be together with her at school in Sakutaro's place. But when Rosa saw that, she shook her head slightly as though dizzy. On a school notice, it had been written that Maria was apparently bringing toys to school and playing with them, and her family was instructed to try and prevent this. But Rosa had rejected that, blaming the teacher and phoning in a protest of her own to the school, saying that there was no way her child would bring toys to school. For nearly an hour, she had shouted at the vice principal to stop making false accusations about her daughter. To a certain degree, those at the school had grasped that Maria was a pitiful girl. They knew that the small toys she brought in were her only friends, so they had done their best to overlook it. But when the other students caught sight of them, some of the boys had started complaining that only she could bring toys, and the school had racked their brains on how to cope with this. They tried to gently send a way of warning by the mother, but after Rosa's overreaction, even Maria's teacher decided to overlook it. But now Rosa knew she had been the one who was wrong, and her daughter really had been bringing toys to school. And those at the school had known that she was a disgrace who had brought toys to school and played with them as though they were her only friends. To Rosa, who thought her daughter was just a little different from normal children, Having this peculiar side of her daughter exposed and found fault with was, more than anything else, something she couldn't bear. So she howled. She raged. The district welfare officer tried to cut between Rosa and Maria again, but she only met with Rosa's wrath once more. Rosa once again threw the woman off with a face like a demon. And when even that failed to curb her anger, she stomped on the ground over and over so forcefully it seemed like she might break through the floor. And after seeming to come back to her senses for a second, she immediately froze her harsh breathing and asked Maria,
マリア、そのウサギの音楽隊はマリアの大切なお友達？そう、4人もお友達がいてよかったわ。
As she said that, Rosa grabbed one of the rabbits from Maria's hand. Then she shoved it in front of Maria's eyes so she could see it very well. The cute rabbit holding a trumpet was a small doll-like chess piece. She slowly lifted it into the air. Of course, Maria and Sakutaro's eyes also followed it. Then with a speed that the eye couldn't follow, she smashed it against that wall. She had half imagined that this was the worst possible thing that might happen, so she instantly realized what had been done. Maria let out a short, despairing scream. It was in pieces. It had been small and sturdy, but it hadn't been enough to withstand her mother's fierce rage.
ママの言うことをちゃんと聞かないから一つ壊れちゃったわ。今後ママの言うことを守らないたびにまた一つ壊すからね。覚えておきなさい。
あなた、そんなことするなんて母親ですか？そんなことしてお嬢さんが傷つかないと思ってるんですか？
マリアが傷つく？私も傷ついているのよ。私の傷は誰が責任取ってくれるのよ。誰が？
She should have just gotten an abortion if she was going to turn out
あ
like
んたは
this.
黙っててって言ってるでしょ。
Not that I don't want Maria to exist, just Maria needs a different mother.
やめてママ、悪いのはマリア。おばさんを怒らないで。マリアは悪くないよ。僕が悪いの。マリアを怒らないで。うりゅうりゅうりゅうりゅうりゅう。
Now is really not the time to be saying anything, Sakutaro.
そのぬいぐるみごっこをやめろって言ったでしょ。だいたいね、気持ち悪いのよ。ぬいぐるみがお友達ってあんた今年でいくつよ。
Clearly what people want from me is more child abuse. I can't.
何歳よ。こんなの布と綿の気持ち悪い下手くそなぬいぐるみじゃない。こんなのしか友達いないのあんた。こんな化け物のぬいぐるみとお友達ごっこしてる暇があったらちゃんとした人間の友達を作りなさいよ。なんであなたにはいつまでもお友達ができないのよ。
Probably because you... Well, sometimes people just can't help if they make friends or not. I'm not very good at making friends either.
そうなんだからいつまでもクラスで変わり者扱いされてバカにされて。ほんとしっかりしていい加減にして。こんなぬいぐるみ遊びもう卒業しちゃってよ。
うりゅうりゅう。
だからそのぬいぐるみごっこをやめろって言ってるでしょ。
ママ返して。サキ太郎返して。うりゅう。
Like, seriously, she's crazy? For real. Also, hi, Astroy. I hope you're doing well. Mama grabbed hold of Sakutaro's head and took him from me. Oh, I just dropped my fork. That's so sad, dude. Why? Why did it have to fall? Okay. And then she smashed him against the wall over and over.
やめろっつってんのよ。そのぬいぐるみごっこをやめろっつってんでしょ。こんなぬいぐるみがあるから。だからあんたはいつまでも友達を作らないのよ。
Yeah, I don't think that's why, but okay.
だから一人だけクラスで浮いてておかしな子扱いされるんでしょうが。こんなぬいぐるみあげなきゃよかった。こんな気持ち悪いぬいぐるみあげなきゃよかった。やめてー。サクタロ返して。サクタロ返して。サクタロはマリアのお友達なの。親友なの。サクタロさえいれば他には何もいらない。だから返して返して。
For some reason, my frantic request just added oil to the fire of Mama's anger. Hope you're doing well, Asteroid. Congrats again on beating all the Mega Man stuff. I still think that's so cool. Mama pushed my arm aside as I tried to grab Sakutaro and snatch him back, and in a bizarre way she stuck her fingernails on both hands deep into Sakutaro, twisting him. The red muffler, which I'd carefully wrapped for him every day, came off and fell to the floor. Sakutaro, who had been so precious to me, was twisted, smashed, and torn at with fingernails so much. I know, R.I.P. He should have kept quiet, though. I don't know why he was just feeling her anger. He was twisted painfully, his face curving in sadness. Then Mama's fingernails found a stitch in the neck and tore it. With both fingernails of both hands, she tore it apart. Rest in peace. But I almost completed every game I wanted to complete? That's awesome. In that instant, Sakutaro's yellow cloth and the cotton inside burst apart. It almost looked like moist cotton candy. Jesus. You just killed her best friend in front of her. The crumpled yellow cloth and the cotton candy flowing out were thrust right in front of my eyes. Then through Mama's face, the evil being stated it clearly.
サク太郎は死んでしまいました。
Maba Gagyurui Kyogo Gikuguki Kutaro Sakuta O Gubijita Wow 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 Kudaro Sakutaro Wow
マリア、マリア、泣くんでない。
ベアトリーチェ、ベアトリーチェ。
サク太郎は良き友人であった。
Say it in red,
そ
Rosa.
なたがそれを忘れぬ限り、常にそなたと共にある。だから 泣くんでない。
生き返らせて。ベアとはいろんな魔法が使えるんだもんね。サクタロだって生き返らせられるよね。
This makes me want to rewatch the anime again.
それは無論サク太郎がわらわの家具だったならそれも、しかしサク太郎はそなたの家具だ。わらわにそれは難しい。
難しいってことは無理じゃないんだよね。生き返らせて。無限の魔法で生き返らせて。
実はな、サク太郎のよりしろはローザの手作りのぬいぐるみであったろ。そのローザがサク太郎を否定、母にその生を許されなかった命は存在できぬのだ。
Beatrice's words were feeble, because she knew that no matter what the excuse, it wouldn't be enough to calm Maria and make her accept it, but she had to communicate the painful truth to her disciple and close friend. She had to tell her the fact that even with all her own power, even she could not revive Sakutaro.
そなたがサク太郎の存在を強く信じる限り、その魂が消え去ることはない。だからマリア、どうか悲しむな。今もほら、すぐそこでサク太郎が微笑んでいると信じるのだ。やだ、
サク太郎を生き返らせてくれなきゃ。やだ、
Wait, hold on.
諦めよ。サク太郎を蘇らせる魔法はない。そしてそれでもなおサク太郎がそなたの親友であり続けることを強く信じよ。その力が魔法となる。
そんなの魔法じゃない。魔法じゃない。サク太郎が生き返らなきゃ嫌だ。ママの手作りだからダメなの。どうしてママはサク太郎を作っマリアにプレゼントするため、マリアのお友達にするためじゃないの。なのになんでママは自分で作って自分で壊したの。どうしてママは自分で産んで自分で壊そうとするの。わかんない、わかんない。ママが憎いよ。ママが憎い。悔しい、悔しい、悲しい、悲しい。サク太郎がそうされたようにママをねじり上げてやりたい。爪を立てて引き裂いて布地と綿にしてやりたい。
Is this why Beatrice decided to kill all of them?
悔しいよ、悔しいよ、ベアトリーチェ。サク太郎。
From the darkness behind Maria's back, two massive jet black arms crept out, twisting around Maria as she sobbed in anger. Then massive fingernails stuck into Maria's chest and stomach. Maria could not see that, but Beato could. Anger and sadness without any place to go will tear you apart. Beato knew that. She could see that, yeah. In the end, those massive arms were Maria's own. So those fingernails slowly started to eat into her chest and stomach. With their immense size and strength, those arms could probably tear Maria into bits easily. But Maria herself couldn't notice. Drowning in a sea of her own tears, she couldn't notice that her own arms were trying to tear apart her own chest.
悔しい、悔しい。サク太郎がどうしても生き返らせられないなら、マリアは復讐したい。ママを同じ目に遭わせてやりたい。サク太郎と同じ目に遭わせてやりたいの。ベアトリーチェ、そのための魔法をママをやっつける魔法を教えて。
Is Maria behind everything?
その言葉は本心。
ママを殺してやる。あれママに取り付いた悪い魔女だ。ママの魔女を殺してやる。
よかろう、その力をそなたに与えよう。心美しきそなたが、そなたにその苦しみを与えた心なき母こそが よほど引き裂かれるに値する。
I mean, true.
教えようぞ、魔女の世界の光さすことなき深淵の奥底を。
サクタロ、みんな嫌い、大嫌い。ママも嫌い、エンジェも嫌い、みんな大嫌い。
Yeah, maybe Maria did everything. Well, there's a lot of breaking right now. Well, I think I will pause here for a little and go to Catherine.